Have you ever noticed how some people only pretend to be your friend when it benefits them? They act loyal, they act kind, but only when it's convenient. When life is good and easy, they stand by your side, laughing, sharing moments, making you feel like you matter. But the moment you truly need them, when you're struggling, when you reach out for support, all you're met with is silence, distance, excuses. They assume you'll always be there, always forgiving, always trusting, always making an effort. They take without giving, expect without appreciating. But the moment you stop playing along, when you stop bending over backward to accommodate them, that's when they reveal who they truly are. It's like a bridge they cross every day, sturdy and reliable. They walk across it without a second thought, never stopping to appreciate its strength. They assume it will always be there, holding them up, steady beneath their feet. But bridges don't stand forever without care. Over time, neglect weakens them. And one day when they turn back expecting to cross it again, they find it's collapsed. Not because it wasn't strong, but because they never bothered to maintain what supported them. They only notice the bridge when it's gone, just like they only notice your absence when they can no longer use you. Or picture a lantern in the night. When the sky is bright and full of stars, its glow is ignored. It sits unnoticed, its light unappreciated. But when darkness falls and the path ahead becomes uncertain, that's when they reach for it, desperate for guidance. They fumble for the warmth of its glow, only to realize they let it flicker out long ago. They never cared to protect the flame, never considered how fragile its light was, only realizing its value when they needed it most. And by then, it's too late. Because while they were busy pretending, you had a choice. Stay blind to their betrayal or finally see the truth. And the moment you do, everything shifts. That's when you realize they were never your friend to begin with. Not truly. They were just passing through, taking what they could, assuming you'd always be there. But now they look back, and you're gone. It's time to stop making excuses for people who only show up when it benefits them. Friendship isn't about convenience. It's about consistency, respect, and effort from both sides. If someone only values you when they need something, but disappears when you need them, they were never truly your friend. So ask yourself, who in your life has been crossing the bridge without ever helping to maintain it? Who only reaches for your light when their own world goes dark? The truth may be painful, but recognizing it is the first step toward protecting your energy and surrounding yourself with people who genuinely care. You don't owe anyone endless chances. You don't have to keep proving your worth to those who never appreciated it in the first place. Walk away from those who take you for granted and invest in those who truly value you. Real friendships don't require you to beg for reciprocity. If you've ever been in this situation, share your experience in the comments. Let's start a conversation about recognizing real versus fake friends. And if this message resonates with you, subscribe for more content on self-worth, boundaries, and personal growth. You deserve better, so start choosing better today. Number 1, they celebrate your failures. Let's talk about one of the clearest signs that someone was never truly your friend. They celebrate your failures. A real friend feels your pain, supports you in your struggles, and stands by you even when things go wrong. But a fake friend, they might smile when you stumble. They might not say it out loud, but you can feel it. The hidden satisfaction, the subtle smirk, the passive response when you expect support. Instead of lifting you up, they secretly enjoy seeing you struggle. And that's all you need to know. Here's the truth. If someone gets satisfaction from your misfortune, they were never truly on your side. A real friend doesn't need you to fail for them to feel good. They don't thrive off your losses, and they certainly don't use your struggles to boost their own ego. But a fake friend, they pretend to care while secretly feeling relieved that, for once, you're not ahead of them. Their support disappears the moment things go wrong. And sometimes, if you look closely, you'll even notice that they subtly enjoy your downfall. And this is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "The envious man dies not once, but with every success of his friend." Think about that. A person who envies you doesn't just suffer when they fail, they suffer every time you succeed. And that same person, they come alive when you struggle. They might disguise it well, but deep down, your hardships make them feel better about themselves. And that's not friendship, That's jealousy in disguise. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Jake, was always the friend who encouraged others. He celebrated his friends' wins, cheered them on, and was always happy to see them succeed. But one day when Jake hit a rough patch in his career, he noticed something strange. The same people he had supported weren't offering him the same in return. Instead, they downplayed his struggles. Some even made little remarks like, "Wow, I guess things aren't so easy after all, huh?" That's when it hit him. These weren't friends. They were just people who had tolerated his success because they thought they could benefit from it. And the moment he stumbled, they showed their true colors. So how do you handle people like this? First, pay attention to their energy. Do they only seem present when you're struggling? Do they subtly mock your failures instead of helping you through them? Second, distance yourself. A true friend will never feel joy in your pain. And finally, remember this. Real friends want to see you win. Fake ones want to see you fall. At the end of the day, someone who celebrates your failures was never your friend. They were just waiting for a moment to feel bigger than you. Pay attention, and when you see it, walk away. Because the right people will never need your downfall to feel good about themselves. Number 2, they disappear when you need them. Let's talk about one of the biggest signs that someone was never truly your friend. They disappear when you need them the most. Friendship isn't measured by how people treat you when things are good. It's tested when life gets hard, when you're struggling, when you're lost, when you have nothing to offer. That's when true friendship is revealed. And if someone suddenly becomes too busy or unreachable during your lowest moments, it's time to accept the truth. They were never real. Here's the harsh reality. Real friends don't vanish when things get tough. A true friend doesn't need you to be fun, successful, or full of energy to stay in your life. They don't only stick around when it's convenient for them. They don't just enjoy the good times and walk away when the storms roll in. But a fake friend, they enjoy your company when you're at your best. They laugh with you, celebrate with you, and make plans when everything is easy. But when you need support, silence. They disappear. They might watch you struggle from a distance, maybe throw in a half-hearted, "hope you're okay" text, but they won't show up. Because deep down, they were never in it for you. They were in it for what you could offer them. And this is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Aristotle once said, "A friend to all is a friend to none." Think about that. Someone who is friendly with everyone but doesn't show up when it truly matters, that's not a friend. That's just someone who plays nice on the surface. True friends are rare because real loyalty isn't about being nice to everyone. It's about standing by the people who matter, especially in their darkest times. The people who truly care don't just enjoy your presence when life is easy. They hold space for you when it's hard. They check in, they listen, they remind you that you're not alone. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Emma, was always the one supporting her friends. She celebrated their wins, listened to their problems, and was always there when they needed her. She gave, she cared, she showed up. But one day when Emma lost her job and went through a rough patch, she noticed something. Nobody was there for her. The same friends she had helped, they were suddenly too busy, too distracted, too distant. One of them even told her, "I just don't know how to be around you when you're not your usual happy self." That's when it hit her. These weren't real friends. They were just people who enjoyed her presence when life was easy. But the moment she needed them, they disappeared. So how do you deal with people like this? First, stop chasing people who don't show up. Friendship is a two-way street. If they're not there when it matters, they're not real. Don't make excuses for them. Don't convince yourself that maybe they're just busy, because the truth is, we make time for the things and people we truly care about. Second, pay attention to patterns. Do they only come around when they need something but vanish when you do? That's not a friend. That's a user. And finally, invest in real connections. The ones who show up for you in your worst moments, those are your true friends. The people who hold your hand when you're struggling, who don't need an invitation to check in on you, who see your pain and don't turn away, those are the people worth keeping. At the end of the day, real friendship isn't about being there when it's convenient. It's about standing by each other when it's hard. If someone disappears the moment you need them, they were never your friend to begin with. Let them go. Make space for the people who truly care, because the right ones will stay. If you found this valuable, hit like and subscribe for more powerful insights. Number 3, they compete instead of support. Let's talk about a red flag that's easy to miss but impossible to ignore once you see it. Someone who competes with you instead of supporting you. A real friend celebrates your victories no matter how big or small. They feel genuine joy when you succeed because your growth doesn't threaten them. Your wins don't take anything away from them. In fact, they see your success as something worth celebrating, not as something to measure themselves against. But a false friend? They can't handle seeing you rise. They don't clap when you win. They calculate. They compare. They measure their progress against yours. And instead of being happy for you, they see your success as a challenge they need to beat. Here's the truth. If someone always tries to one-up you, they don't see you as a friend. They see you as a rival. And that's not friendship. Friendship isn't a competition. There's no scoreboard, no ranking system, no reason to win. A true friend understands that success isn't a limited resource. Just because you're thriving doesn't mean they're failing. But a fake friend, they live with a scarcity mindset. They believe that if you're succeeding, there's less space for them. Your achievements make them insecure. So instead of celebrating with you, they try to outshine you. They downplay your progress, shift the attention back to themselves, or suddenly bring up their own successes every time you share something good. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "A man who envies another's success does not seek wisdom, only validation." That's powerful because at the core of constant competition is insecurity. A wise person focuses on their own growth. They don't waste energy comparing themselves to others. They don't measure their worth against someone else's achievements. But someone who constantly competes with you, they're not looking to improve. They're looking for proof that they're better than you. And that's not just unhealthy, it's exhausting. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Adam, had a best friend who seemed supportive on the surface. Whenever Adam shared good news, this friend would say, "That's awesome." But then, like clockwork, he'd immediately follow up with something like, "I actually just did something similar, but on a bigger scale." At first, Adam brushed it off, thinking maybe it was just a coincidence. But then he started noticing the pattern. Every time Adam had a moment of success, this friend would find a way to shift the focus back to himself. Every achievement was met with a one-up, a comparison, a quiet competition. It became clear that this wasn't about celebrating each other. It was about who could stay ahead. Eventually, Adam realized this wasn't friendship. This was a rivalry he never signed up for. So how do you deal with people like this? First, stop engaging in their competition. If someone constantly tries to outshine you, let them. It's not your job to prove anything. You don't need to shrink yourself or compete just because they are. Second, observe how they react to your success. Do they genuinely celebrate you, or do they always make it about themselves? That tells you everything you need to know. And finally, invest in relationships where growth is mutual, not a contest. Real friends inspire each other. They push each other forward. They share wisdom, opportunities, and encouragement, not competition, jealousy, and comparison. At the end of the day, friendship isn't about keeping score. It's about lifting each other up. A real friend doesn't feel threatened by your success. They're excited for you because they know that your success doesn't take away from their own. But if someone treats your wins like a personal loss, if they secretly hope to be ahead of you instead of standing beside you, they were never your friend to begin with. Walk away and surround yourself with people who cheer for you, not those who see you as competition. Number 4, they talk behind your back. Let's talk about one of the biggest betrayals in friendship, someone who speaks poorly about you when you're not around. Loyalty isn't proven when things are easy. It's not about how someone treats you to your face, but about how they talk about you when you're not there to defend yourself. A real friend protects your name in your absence. They stand up for you when others try to bring you down. They shut down gossip and refuse to entertain negativity about you. But a fake friend? They use your absence as an opportunity to expose their true feelings. They smile in your face, but the moment you turn away, they reveal what they really think. Here's the truth. If someone talks behind your back, They will betray you when given the chance. They may act supportive in front of you, but when you're not there, they change their tune. Maybe they twist your words, spread rumors, or downplay your achievements. They might make sarcastic remarks about you, mocking your choices, your dreams, or your struggles. And if you ever confront them, they'll act surprised. "Oh, I didn't mean it that way," or "You're overreacting." But the damage is done. And the moment you realize that someone is willing to speak against you when you're not around, you need to accept the reality. They were never truly your friend. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The tongue of a traitor is more dangerous than the sword of an enemy." And he was right. An enemy attacks you openly, making their intentions clear. But a fake friend? They attack you in silence. They stab you in the back when you least expect it, and that makes them far more dangerous. Because while you're busy trusting them, they're busy betraying you. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Jake, thought he had a close friend at work. They laughed together, shared ideas, and seemed to have a strong bond. Jake always had this friend's back, defending them in meetings, helping them out, and even covering for their mistakes. But one day Jake overheard a conversation. His so-called friend was telling others that Jake wasn't as smart as people thought, that his success was just luck, and that he didn't really deserve his position. Jake was shocked. This was someone he had trusted, someone he had supported. Yet behind his back, they were tearing him down. That's when he realized this wasn't a friend. This was a hidden enemy. So how do you handle people like this? First, don't ignore the signs. If multiple people tell you someone has been talking about you, believe them. It's easy to think, maybe it was just a misunderstanding. But the truth is, if it happens once, it will happen again. Second, don't waste time confronting them. A person who talks behind your back isn't looking for honesty. They're looking for control. They thrive on deception, on playing both sides. Even if you call them out, they'll twist the story to make themselves look innocent. And finally, distance yourself. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to fight for their loyalty. True friends defend you in your absence. Fake ones expose themselves the moment you're not in the room. At the end of the day, real loyalty doesn't need to be questioned. If someone can't stand by your name when you're not around, they were never truly standing with you in the first place. Cut them off and surround yourself with people who protect your name, even when you're not there to hear it. Because real friendships aren't built on empty words. They're built on trust, respect, and integrity. If you've watched the video this far, don't forget to leave a comment with "Thank God" and give it a like if you enjoyed the content. Your support means a lot and motivates me to keep creating more inspiring videos. Let's continue learning and growing together. Thank you. Number 5, they use you when it's convenient. Let's talk about one of the clearest signs that someone was never truly your friend. They only come around when they need something. At first, it might not seem like a big deal. They reach out, act friendly, and make it seem like they care. But over time, you start to notice a pattern. They don't check in just to see how you're doing. They don't offer their support when you're struggling. They don't celebrate your wins or stand by you when life gets tough. But the moment they need help, suddenly they're right there, pretending to be your best friend. Here's the truth. A real friend gives as much as they take. Friendship is about mutual support, not one-sided benefits. A person who only comes around when it's convenient isn't a friend. They're a user. They don't value you. They value what you can do for them. Maybe it's emotional support, financial help, or just having someone to entertain them when they're bored. But once they get what they need, they disappear, leaving you wondering if the connection was ever real. And it's not just about big favors. It's the little things too. When they need a ride, they call you. When they're lonely, they suddenly remember to check in. When they need a reference, a loan, or even just a place to vent, they show up like they've always been there. But when you need them, silence, no replies, no effort. And the worst part is, if you call them out on it, they'll act like you're the problem, like you're being selfish for expecting the same level of care that you always gave them. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "To give without expecting is virtue. To take without giving is theft." Think about that. True generosity is giving without strings attached. But a person who only takes without ever giving back, they're not a friend, they're a taker, draining your energy, your time, and your kindness without offering anything in return. And that's not just unfair, it's exhausting. Let me share a story. A woman I know, let's call her Lisa, had a friend like this. Whenever Lisa was needed, she was there. She listened, helped, supported, and gave without hesitation. She was the person who always made an effort, always checked in, always showed up. But when Lisa needed the same in return, silence, messages left unread, excuses, no time, no effort, no care. At first, Lisa made excuses for them. Maybe they're just busy. Maybe they don't realize how one-sided this is. But then, just when she had accepted that this person wasn't a real friend, they'd pop back up with a casual, "Hey, I miss you. Can you help me with something?" That's when Lisa realized this person didn't miss her. They missed what she could do for them. They didn't value her as a friend. They valued her as a resource. And the moment Lisa stopped being so available, this so-called friend moved on, searching for someone else to use. That's when she knew the truth. This was never a friendship. It was a transaction. So how do you handle people like this? First, recognize the pattern. If someone only reaches out when they need something, it's not friendship, it's convenience. A real friend is there for you, not just when they need something, but because they want to be. Second, stop being so available. When you always say yes, you teach people that your time and energy don't need to be valued. Start setting boundaries. A real friend won't disappear when you stop being their go-to problem solver. They'll still be there, even when they don't need anything from you. And finally, invest in relationships that are balanced. Real friendships aren't about keeping score, but they are about mutual care and respect. The right people won't just take from you. They'll give, they'll support, and they'll show up when it matters. At the end of the day, friendship is a two-way street. If someone only sees you as a resource and not as a person, they were never your friend to begin with. Cut them off and make space for the people who truly value you, not just what you can give. Number 6, they undermine your confidence. Let's talk about one of the most toxic behaviors a fake friend can have. They subtly make you doubt yourself. A real friend lifts you up, encourages your growth, and reminds you of your strengths. They believe in your potential and want to see you succeed. But a false friend, they do the opposite. Instead of celebrating your abilities, they plant seeds of doubt. They downplay your achievements, criticize your ideas, or act like your goals are unrealistic. And worst of all, they make it seem like they're just helping you, as if their discouragement is for your own good. Here's the truth. True friends uplift you, but false ones make you question yourself. A real friend won't make you feel small just to make themselves feel bigger. They won't laugh off your dreams or brush aside your hard work. But a fake friend, they don't want to see you become too confident, too successful, or too happy, because that would mean you no longer need them. Their own insecurity drives them to keep you in a place where you constantly second-guess yourself. Because as long as you doubt your own abilities, they feel like they have power over you. And the worst part, it's not always obvious. Unlike direct insults or open negativity, these people are subtle. They wrap their discouragement in concern. They disguise their jealousy as realism. They make it seem like they're just looking out for you, when in reality they're holding you back. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Epictetus once said, "The man who weakens your spirit is no friend, but a hidden adversary." Think about that. Someone who makes you feel less instead of more is not a friend. They are an enemy disguised as one. A true friend pushes you forward, while a fake friend holds you back, often in ways so subtle that you don't even notice until it's too late. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Ryan, had a close friend who always seemed to have a realistic perspective on everything Ryan wanted to do. When Ryan talked about starting his own business, his friend said, "Are you sure? That sounds risky." When Ryan started working on himself, hitting the gym, and focusing on his health, his friend joked, "Wow, you're really trying hard, huh? Hope you don't burn out." And when Ryan finally started seeing success, his friend brushed it off with, "Wow, you got lucky." At first, Ryan didn't see the problem. He assumed his friend was just being honest. But over time, he started noticing the pattern. This wasn't concern. This wasn't realism. This was intentional doubt, designed to keep him from growing, to make him hesitate, to stop him from fully believing in himself. And the more Ryan listened, the more he held himself back. It took him a while to realize what was happening, but once he did, he knew he had to distance himself. So how do you deal with people like this? First, recognize the pattern. If someone constantly makes you second-guess yourself, ask why. Are they really offering helpful advice? Or are they trying to keep you from growing? A true friend will challenge you, but they won't discourage you. Second, trust your own abilities. You don't need their validation to move forward. The moment you stop seeking approval from those who undermine you, you take back your power. You don't need permission to chase your goals. And finally, distance yourself from anyone who weakens your spirit. The right people will remind you of your strength, not try to take it away. A true friend wants to see you thrive, not hesitate. If someone constantly makes you doubt yourself, they were never on your side to begin with. At the end of the day, real friendship isn't about competition or control. It's about support. A real friend will never make you feel smaller. They will always remind you of how big you truly are. If someone constantly undermines your confidence, don't let them stay in your life. Walk away and surround yourself with people who make you feel unstoppable. If you believe this video can help others, give it a like. It helps the YouTube algorithm show it to more people. And don't forget to subscribe for more awesome content coming your way. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'll definitely reply. Number 7, they make you feel guilty for growing. Let's talk about a toxic behavior that reveals who was never truly your friend. They make you feel guilty for evolving. Growth is a natural part of life. You learn, you change, you improve, and you become a better version of yourself. That's how life is meant to be. But not everyone will celebrate that growth. Some people, especially those who feel stuck in the same place, will see your progress as a threat. Instead of cheering for you, they'll try to hold you back. Instead of celebrating your success, they'll make you feel wrong for changing. Here's the truth. If someone resents your progress, they were never a real friend. A true friend wants to see you evolve. They don't need you to stay the same just to make themselves feel comfortable. They understand that growth is necessary and they celebrate your transformation. But a fake friend? They feel insecure about their own lack of progress, so they try to make you feel bad for moving forward. It's subtle at first. They might say things like, "You've changed," or "You're acting different," as if that's a bad thing. They might remind you of how you used to be, hoping to pull you back into old habits. They'll make comments that plant seeds of doubt, making you question whether you're doing the right thing. But here's what's really happening. They aren't upset because you changed. They're upset because they didn't. They don't want you to grow because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. Your progress reminds them of what they aren't doing, and instead of using that as motivation, they choose to guilt trip you instead. They'll act like you're abandoning them, even though you're simply evolving into the person you're meant to be. This is where Stoic wisdom comes in. Seneca once said, "Do not let the anchor of another keep your ship from sailing." Think about that. Some people will try to weigh you down, not because they want to protect you, but because they don't want to be reminded of their own lack of direction. If your success makes someone uncomfortable, that's their burden to carry, not yours. Let me share a story. A guy I know, let's call him Mike, used to hang out with a group of friends who never really did much with their lives. They spent their time partying, complaining about their problems, and avoiding responsibility. But Mike wanted more. He started focusing on self-improvement, hitting the gym, advancing in his career, and cutting out bad habits. And that's when he noticed something.